right, Shalom.
Shalom. We're the Hebrew Israelites. This is the brothers from GMS Houston. We're going to try and get us a pre-camp started today. But first, we like to start off by saying all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rukakadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered across the four winds. We're going to start off by, going through our plight. We're going to start off in Job chapter 1 and verse 1.
And if I can add a little bit, and like brothers was talking about before the lesson started, just asking brothers what they've been reading lately. And brother said the book of Job. And we just kind of started talking about the summary of Job, and we're just like, hey, let's go ahead and make that a lesson. So, but when you go into Job, as the apostles say, the elders say, that's like a foreshadow on what we experiencing as a nation. Now, he actually went through those things, just like the Most High used Ezekiel for certain things. Told him, go eat dung and this, because that was a foreshadowing of how we was going to eat our food defiled among the Gentiles. Many other things he had prophets do. But again, Job. Now, when you read Job, it started off the Most High and Satan making a bet. So the Most High, hey, be playing with people's lives, man. But they made a bet. Let's see if Job will trust in you or if he going to curse you. What it's going to be. And from that point, the Most High allows Satan, which, again, that's another point. That should also gives us comfort, because we know Satan, he got a boss. And the one over Satan is the same one we serve, man. And look, according to Apostle, you about to say something?
Well, I'm going to go into the scripture.
Let's get
okay. Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 39. See now that I am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So, basically, bringing that in, that's the Father. That is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yahweh. He's not a meek and mild God. He's a powerful God. And he's the one that kills and makes alive. Satan works for him. He sees Satan out to do his dirty work for him.
That's it. But even going back to Job, he was on the way to this bus back. Nah, Keenan, it ain't gonna be all noisy like that. Like even when they're in building, I think about Solomon. When Solomon was in building, it says that as they was building, it was peace and quiet, because everything was custom made at the quarry before they brought it to the temple, to his palace. But it says, so when they did it, it wasn't no the hammers, the drill, they ain't have drills, but it wasn't none of that. But it said it was quiet while I was in building. So I perceive, hey, Solomon gonna be ruling again, but even in a better version than Yahushua. So I thought it's gonna be a lot of noise and cranes and but nevertheless, we'll see, we'll find out then. But going back to Job, which, hey, that's what we got to look to, because at the end of Job's story, he was blessed way more than what he was blessed in the beginning. Now, in the bigger picture, us as Israelites, we're gonna be blessed way more than what we had at the beginning with Adam in the latter end. But in the meantime, before that happened, Job went through a lot. That's the point we at. We being wore out right now, man. His friends thought he was wicked. a lot of the scriptures. Let's just hop into it. I'll read it, but a lot of the scriptures we read about how the Most High have reserved the wicked in the book of Job. That was his friends telling him, Job, you got to be wicked if the Lord is judging you. That's the same way I found it. They think, same story, kind of. You got what you got, and we'll get into it. And to raise your question a little bit, bro.
Yes, sir. Isaiah 45:7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace. I create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things.
Yeah, that's the Lord saying, hey, look, I am in control. I'm ultimately omnipotent. I'm omnipotent. There's nothing that happens on this earth or in the heavens that I don't know about or I'm not in control of.
You was getting in that? I don't know. But I'll read this Job chapter 1. This Job chapter 1 and verse 1. It says there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. And that man was perfect and upright and one that feared the Most High and eschewed evil. And there was born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance was also 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen. Hey, today, Jake, some Jake ain't even got enough room for a dog, man. You know, real shit. If you had an apartment and it's too big, or a pit bull or something, you got to get papers, you know. But Job had it all. He couldn't fit what he had on the balcony today.
Or shit on 10 acres.
I mean, 20 acres. Or what are they? 40 acres. And a mule. Job had more than that. Come on, man. Verse 3, we're just kind of going to, Job's story. And just kind of flowing through that,
This is Job 1 and 3. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household.
Come on, man.
So that this man was the greatest of all the men of the East.
You see? So look, that was his beginning. They're just like us as Israelites. Adam, they was doing it. The sons of God back then, we was doing it. As it says, just now, Job was the greatest man of the East. But before he can get to that latter end, it was a path he had to cross. Like 2nd Ezra 7, I'll read it real quick. The 2nd Ezra 7, and I'll get straight to the point. I'll start at 6. Y'all going to make a point. It says, there is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field full of all good things. And that city is the kingdom of heaven, what we're going to receive. It says, the entrance thereof is narrow and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water. So before Job got to his latter end, on one side it was boils. On one side, it was his children done. Right? You get a little more on this side, it was all his servants done, his cattle done, everything happening. And remember, as we're going to read, these things was happening back to back. So you know how we got an hour temptation, right? Coming up. I wouldn't be surprised, you know how the Lord do things with his numbers sometimes, that if Job was told all that within 1 hour. You know why? Because when you read it, it says that one came give him some bad news. And before that one was done talking, another one came. Before he was done talking, another one came. So this wasn't like days he was being told all this. It was back to back. But, come on, man. But I'll finish this. It says, 2nd Ezra 7 and 8, it says, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. Could Job's friends help him? No. He had to go through it by himself. Go through it by himself. And that's the point. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, then how shall he receive this inheritance? So the same thing with Job. In order for him to get, the brother Yana, I'm glad you came. You brought this point up to me, that even though he lost his children in the first chapter, when you read that last chapter, trivia question for y'all brothers. When do you come back in reincarnation? 3rd and 4th generation. It says that Job lived to see his children into the 3rd and 4th generation. I think it said 5th. But 3rd and 4th generation. So he got his children back who died in the first chapter or 2. Come on, man. So children we may have now that the Lord may, who knows? Of course, if they of the age that, they can do it on their own, they're grown, then have at it. But we hope the Lord save our little ones if we may have them. But again, it might be like that for some. You're going to get them back in the kingdom, though. That's it. Your parents, you're going to see them again. And it's going to be good, man.
This is Matthew 7 and 13. Enter ye in at the straight gate. For wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. And many there be and many there be which go in thereat. So just like the brother was saying, you know, you got that broad gate. You know, there's only one path, and you got to go through the narrow path.
That path, the reason why, you know, you have Jake not wanting to, you know, take part of that path, because it's a difficult path, man. Like with Job, how the brother was going into it, there's, you know, suffering, there's losses. You see, Job had riches, true riches. You know, not, you know, this was actual wealth. He had land, he had cattle, he had all sorts of, you know, different types of animals, and all these things. He had to, you know, accept his loss, man. You know, so, but within this truth, we ourselves have to accept the loss that we might have to lose our job, you know, our house, our car, whatever it may be, man. And we just have to accept that. And hope and pray to Yahweh Shem Yashai that we could continue, you know, and endure it, man.
I'm trying to fix it to where we can make some spot on the sidewalk, you know?
Oh, okay.
Like, we hopping in, huh? I'm saying because I had a camera. Now it was like too short. All right, we should be good. We could pick back up in that Job, though.
Job chapter 1 and verse 4. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, and every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them.
Right.
And it was so, when the days of their feast were gone about, Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned or cursed the Most High in their hearts. Thus did Job continually.
Right. So what it was saying is Job, his sons and daughters, do what they do. Now it says on their days, birthdays, whatever, right? Within that, who knows if they had idols? Who knows, right? But I doubt it, because they fathered. I'm sure their father raised them up. But the point is, it said right here that Job had to sacrifice for them daily in case they offended the Most High, in case they was going off. He was fearing that. And when we read some of the things that a situation we may think we'll never go through, it is true. The Most High go put us through that. Some you'll be like, nah, the Lord. He'll do it, because in this, Job go say the thing that I feared the Most High, he brought me through it. Yeah.
But they're saying that Job was a priest as well, because he was sacrificing to the Most High. And no other nation has known those statutes. No other nation has known. So that right there proves that Job was an Israelite.
If I can make a quick point, the elder brothers always say, you know, when you receive a rebuke, you know, even though you may not be doing it, it may happen to you in the future, like the brother wrote into being a priest or a prophet. We seen before. So sometimes a rebuke, you can look like, hey, I didn't do that, but you know, keep that in the back of your mind that, hey, just be on the lookout for that in the future.
It's like a warning before it takes place.
Job 1 and 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God, or the sons of the Most High, came to present themselves before Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, and Satan came also among them.
So this before he got kicked out, huh?
This
Satan didn't get kicked out, man.
Not at all.
Right.
Stuck up to the side door.
I want to know how it looked like. Him and that, like, which angels was it? Was it a multitude? How many? Right. Oh, hit the ground, fall to the ground, and like the movies. Nah, man, Satan in order, man.
Right.
Satan in more order than people on earth.
That's right.
Satan in more order than people in these churches. Satan in more order than everybody, because he ain't going off according to what the Lord making him do. That's all it is. Nobody's saying that Satan is righteous. Like he Yahweh, so nobody's saying that. All it is, we saying according to what the Most High created him to do, he's doing that exact thing. ain't going off. The Most High created him to be a deceiver, right? Created him to be the wicked one. He's doing it perfectly. The will of the Most High. Like, I don't see what's the big deal in that.
It's balance. You got to have good and evil. Or else you don't have either one.
I gotta put them. This is the book of Daniel. I get to it. This Daniel chapter 5. All right. This Daniel chapter 5 and verse 35. Now this Nebuchadnezzar putting up a prayer about the Most High. And I mind you, this after he came into his right mind again. So what he's saying is not him as the beast Nebuchadnezzar. He was in his right mind. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at 34. This Daniel 4 and 34, the reason I'm getting is to show everything on earth is doing exactly what the Most High created them to do. Animals, people, elements. Which Yahushua said, a sparrow don't fall from the sky unless the Most High ordained it.
Just like those fires in Hawaii right now. The Most High put that there, even if Esau did use some of his technology. You know, ultimately it's the Most High putting it in his brain to go ahead and do these things.
And that's to tell you, how cool the Most High is. I'm talking about, look around. Man's going to the law, right? Who created iPhone? Who created that? Who created Lamborghini, Jordan, Nike? Let's be real. Whoever had the idea of these inventions, who gave them that thought? The Xbox, that's the Most High creation. He thought of that first. CDs, DVDs. That's the Most High creation. Which genre of music? That's his vibe, man. Colors. We talking about, come on, man. So not just on earth though, in the heavens too. Nobody got a line. In Sirach, it says that even the angels tremble in the sight of the Most High. But this Daniel chapter 4 and verse 34, it says, and at the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lift up my eyes unto heaven, and my understanding returned unto me. So he in his right mind. It says, and I blessed the Most High and praised and honored him that live forever, whose dominion is everlasting and his kingdom is from generation to generation. Is the point. And all inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing. He doeth according to his will in the army of heaven and among the inhabitants of the earth. In the army of heaven, the Most High do according to his will. That's exactly why Satan had to ask to do stuff to Job. He had to get permission. He just couldn't do it. He had to get permission. And it says, and none can stay his hand or say unto him, what thou doest. What you doing, Lord? Why you got me doing this? Nobody can get out there role on the Lord, man. But, y'all got it. Back to Job. Yeah, you already got it, man. You got something?
This Psalms 139 in verse 8. Oh, no, 7. Whither shall I go from thy spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful precept. I'm just saying that the Most High is everywhere, right? Like we started out, omnipotent. There's nothing that happens that the Most High is not in control of. Right? Get back to that Job. It's in Job 1 and 7. And the sons of the Most High, and the Most High said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Most High and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
Hey, that's to tell you that's the same spirit as Esau. Habakkuk 2, it said he needs to keep it at home, right? Going all over the earth. Where did he get that from his father, man? His father in heaven.
Job 1 and 8. And the Most High said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth the Most High and escheweth evil. Then Satan answered the Most High and said, does Job fear the Most High for naught? Meaning, You know, does he fear the Most High for no reason? Me? Okay, we're gonna go. The next verse says, Has not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all he has on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land.
That's sweet. When people get robbed, everything, it says you got a hedge about it, which means you protecting them. Nobody busting in. That's why when the protection was taken, you had armies ready or been. So look, really on earth they've been plotting on Job, but the Most High just had to get an okay to the Most High, to Satan in the heavens to get okay, because you had people running in. I forget which nation they called them, but they ran in, burnt Job's shit up, man. Burnt all this stuff up, but the Most High took the hedge around, was showing us the same way we being protected, right? Our family may be going through things, people in the world, when the freeze come, brothers be straight, lights go out, brothers gonna be straight. That's the head. That's gonna be that hedge around us. Job had it the same way. Other people was going through it, but that's the thing. Satan, no, he can't get around the Most High hedge if it's set. You know? So we can come up and jump around. You can read now.
Job 1:11. But put forth thine hand now and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. You notice he said he told the Most High. He said, put forth thine hand and touch all that he hath. So who's gonna do it? I mean, who's in charge? The Most High. The Most High is in charge. Because he said, put forth thine hand. Okay, this is verse 12.
And if I can add again, because we likening Job's story unto ours, who put us in this situation? Is it really Esau? Man, I know everybody had to think of this. If it was like 500 slaves, big swole niggas on plantations, and one Edomite man, his wife Lily, you know, his daughter, and his son. It's just them. Why wasn't Jake able to? Now, one or two might die from trying to get him. He gets shot, and another one come. Come on, man. He could have. It's the Lord. I got a quick precept. You can get it. Lamentations, like you know what it said. 2, I think it's 15. How it says, all that passed by us clap their hands, and it's gonna say at the end of Most High, say, I have done what I please, because these nations go see us in this Lord's state. Revelation 11. Them dead bodies, the Most High had us in that estate.
And also, you want to hand, that's power. So, you know, that power goes back to how much should be on shot, you know, ultimately power. Lamentation chapter 2, verse 15. All that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth?
Right, so that's how people look at us now. They look at these niggas, man. Mexicans, you know, talking shit about us. Got all these stereotypes. Even at my job, I'm the only so-called black personnel. Now, I like watermelon. You know? But it's like you're trying to hurt me get something, like, bro. Because I'm thinking, if Esau see me in water, because I know how I feel. You know what I'm saying? But it's just fucked up. Excuse my, you know, but that's what we go through, man. They think all of us the same. They try to put us, well, that's Esau, put us in the same category. Right? But that's when they see us in this state. Look how women, the fake hair, the pink hair, dragging on the floor. Children, sagging pimples. Come on, man. Dogs, city girls. They see us in this condition. Rappers, y'all killing each other, sell drugs to each other, y'all commit adultery. So they said, no way y'all could be the Israelites. That's why Bocal Malone them can't get it that we say we Israelites or these Christians. It's so far-fetched because look at the state we're in, you know? Oh, and that's another thing. That's why even Job friends, it was far-fetched. They was like, bro, I don't know, because look at where he was and look at where he fell to, though. They was like, I don't know, Job, you had to be doing some wicked shit, because the Most High just ain't gonna do that. He just ain't gonna do that. And that's like our people today. Well, if God loved, that's why we do that. No, we had to be doing something for him to put us in this situation. Now, you know, although Job, he ain't doing it in that time, but he still had to pay for past sins too. You know, but the point is, hey, Yahweh was in captivity. He ain't do nothing. You know? But again, the Most High can do what he wants. Just like he was playing with Job life. But you got some more, huh?
Isaiah 55:8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And that's just the line back of what the brother saying. Like, Yahweh Shah was perfect. He didn't do anything. Job was perfect. What did they do? Because it was the Lord's doing. We don't know why he did it, but we do know why now. You know, it's a faith booster. Like I like when the elders always say, you know, read the book of Job. Hell, I remember one time in the spirit, my mom, she was like, you got the patience of Job. And in my head, I was like, where the fuck that come from? But, you know, it just made me, you know, be more in that mindset of moving like Job, you know, trying to do the righteous thing, you know, continue on that righteous path. Isaiah 55:9. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. So we can, you know, we can kind of see how the, you know, the Most High move, but we won't ultimately know until we really get those new bodies. But, you know, you got to keep, you know, enduring.
You got a little more on that
Lamentation chapter 2, verse 16. All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed some. Lamentation 2:16. All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day that we look for. We have found, we have seen it.
Now check that out. That's how the heathens respond to seeing us in this estate. They said, this is the day we look for, as if they had something to do with our downfall. Now the Most High used them, but really they ain't had nothing to do with it.
That goes back to when the Most High was speaking to Moses, and he said, you know what, I'll kill all of them and raise them out of you. And Moses was like, nah, Lord, if you do that, then the heathens will think that you couldn't do it.
You save us, yeah. That's it. Well, you got it out. You got it done.
Lamentations 2:18. Their heart cried unto the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Oh, Salaki, the water. Lamentations 2:17. The Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua have done that which he had devised. He had fulfilled his word that he had commanded in the days of old.
Check that out. Now the verse above said, the heathen said, we finally did it. We finally got them niggas. We finally did it. But the next verse says, the Most High said he been ordained that though. So they really just going according to his program. That's all it is. And again, just like Job couldn't understand why that was going on, our people can't see it now because the reward is going to be what we going through now. Gonna be the reward going to be well worth it, man. That's it. Because, you know, once Job got that, I ain't see the next chapter said, and then after he got blessed more than he was complaining. You know, he was mad. Or he was mad at the Lord on why he gave me them boils and never said that. He don't have to think about that no more because he was good now. It paid off. That's the same situation we in. It's gonna pay off in the end, man. And really, yeah, Job spoke about Yahushua. Not just when he said, I'm gonna see my Redeemer, but the same situation we in. We're in our grace period now. And what ultimately we need? A good lawyer. You know? A good lawyer to get us out of this what we've been judged for. Now, what makes a good lawyer or a good judge? Somebody who kind of played both sides. You was a criminal, you lived that life, but now you judge, you can show mercy, you played both sides. Well, Job said, and I don't know if a brother want to look for it, I forget what chapter, but Job was indirectly speaking of Yahushua because he said, only if I had a mediator, and I think it's in the NLT, but he said, only if I think it's like Job chapter 20 or something like that. But Job said, only if I had a mediator who knew what I was going through on earth, and he was able to talk to the Most High in heaven and understand, you know, that way, so he can, you know, better help the Most High. I forget how it's worded, but Job was saying, I wish somebody could plead with the Most High who knew what I was going through as a man, and who could stand in the presence of the Lord and speak to him. That's only one man can do that. That's Yahushua. He lived the life we live in. He experienced it, and he understands judgment in the heavens. So he can speak on our behalf.
Hey, it's cold too, bro, because like in this world, who they say the best lawyers is? The Jews. You want to get you a Jewish lawyer, you know. But you know, Yahushua, he the ultimate Jew from the tribe of Judah. You know, the Jewish lawyers in this system, well, they know the system. They know how to get around it, right? So they know everything about it. Like the brother said, hey, Yahushua, he know everything. He done been through, he came down in the flesh. So Yahushua is the best one to represent us because he know what we're going through.
I think I got it. In the NLT, Job 9:33. If only there were a mediator between us.
Yeah, so like you can start at 30. No, 29. Let's start at 27. I was 27.
Job 9:27. If I decided to forget my, this is an NLT Salaki. Job 9:27 NLT. If I decided to forget my complaints, to put away my sad face and be cheerful, I would still dread all the pain, for I know you will not find me innocent, O Yahweh Bashem Yahushua power.
Right? If the Lord really searched me, it'll be over. You know, that's what Job was saying right here. But that's the same what Psalms 130 said. If the Lord was to truly mark iniquity, who could stand? Yahushua backdoored indirectly and said, why callest thou me good? There was only one good.
Job 9:29.
And that's what Job, because down Job's story, he started realizing that, because at first he was proud, like, man, I ain't do nothing. You know, I'm good. Like, you know, the Lord, he loved me and this and that, I ain't do nothing. He was proud in his judgment, like, man, I wish I could go talk to the Lord myself. Right? But he started humbling down towards the end and started realizing when, you know, the Most High was dealing, but he was humbling down, realizing his faults though, you know?
Job 9:29. Whatever happens, I will be found guilty. So what's the use of trying? Even if I were to wash myself with soap and clean my hands with lard, you would plunge me into a muddy ditch, and my own filthy clothing would hate me. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua power is not a mortal like me, so I cannot argue with him or take him to trial.
Right, so Job's saying, man, like if I can't get around it, because you not like me, you're not a man like me, so I can't go to trial with you. I can't defend myself. I need somebody who could defend me in your presence, because I can't do it. You got it out?
Job 9:33. If only there were a mediator between us.
If only there were a mediator between us. You want to get that mediator scripture? I think it's in Timothy, Baba Kashar. If only there were a mediator between us, between the Most High.
Yeah, 1 Timothy 2:5.
You know, whoever get it, between the Most High and us.
This 1 Timothy 2:5, it says, for there is one God and one mediator between God and men, the man Hamashiach Yahushua.
It says there's only one mediator between the Most High man, that's Yahushua Mashiach. So Job, that's who he needed at this point in time. In order for him to get to that last glory, he needed Yahushua. The same situation in order for us to get to this last glory, so our latter end could be better than the first, we need Yahushua, that one mediator, man. You know?
And that's a cut to you, you only Old Testament only. You know, Yahushua not prophesied in the Old Testament too. Job 9:33. If only there were a mediator between us, Yahushua, someone who could bring us together, the mediator could make Yahweh power stop beating me, and I would no longer live in terror of his punishment.
Hey, well, what Yahushua saved us from the curse of the law. Now, say we go out for something, we don't get struck or beat by the Most High instantly. It's mercy through that. Through Yahushua, the Most High was able to stop beating us for, you know, literally, but we still catch our beatings, those stripes, you know, things we go through. But it ain't as harsh as it used to be. It's repentance now, it's mercy, grace period. Without that mediator, which Job had it, we wouldn't get to that latter end, man.
Romans, the 5th chapter speaks about Yahushua dying for sinners, And he said he saved us from the wrath to come. So ultimately, you know, that's the destruction. So without Yahweh, hey, people are doomed. The Israelites, of course, there's nothing they can do.
Last verse, Job 9:35. Then I can speak to him without fear, but I cannot do that in my own strength.
Right.
Yeah, I know the elders in our camp are going to that. Faith and fear can't coexist.
It says, so once he had that mediator, it says, now I can speak to him without fear, right? That's us now approaching the throne boldly, man. We can go to the Lord now because we got somebody who plead on our behalf. We got an extra hope now, man. And now we about to, you know, wind it down. You got somebody?
There's Daniel 7, verse 13. I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man come with the clouds of heaven and come to the Ancient of Days. And they brought him near before him. God just going to show you, and this right here shows that how Job was saying he can't go to the Heavenly Father. He needs somebody. Showing you that there's two. You know, there's the God of the Bible, Yahweh, and then there's the Son. And that's what we're dealing with. You see, you read that in John 14. It goes into that you can't come to the Heavenly Father but through Yahweh Shai, man. And this is what he does. He makes a intercession between us and the Heavenly Father, man.
Right. With that faith and that sacrifice. Because sacrifices back then, you know, you kill a sacrifice and then you had to keep on sacrificing. But Yahweh Shai delivering sacrifice. It's like we got to be living sacrifices. See, so believing in him, that's how we able to have that mediator.
He come ours daily, though, too.
Yep.
You know, the priest was only a particular, that sacrifice that you needed.
Right.
It wasn't daily. Like tomorrow, if you go off, the one yesterday counted. No, that's Yahweh Shai. And you had to go to the temple. Now it's everywhere with the Lord.
Right. Living sacrifice.
Living. You know? But, you have something? And I ended with this. You got something here? Real quick, this second Esdras 5, just like Job couldn't understand why the Most High was putting him through that. But ultimately, it was so he could have a greater latter end. For the same thing for us. This second Esdras 5 and verse 38. And I said, oh Lord, that bearers rule, who may know these things? Because the Most High, he had an angel ask Job questions. And said, look, if you could answer these questions, then I'll tell you why the Most High judge like he do. Right? I could tell you what you want to know about the Most High if you answer these questions. And Esdras couldn't answer. So that's why he's saying this. Who may know these things, but he that have not his dwelling with men, but only the Most High. As for me, I am unwise. How may I then speak of these things whereof thou askest me? And this is the point. Then said he unto me, like as thou canst do none of these things that I have spoken of, you can't answer none of my questions. Even so, canst thou not find out my judgment? You can't find out why I'm doing this to Israel or Job. This is the point. It says, or in the end, the love that I have promised unto my people. So we can't even fathom what the Most High, I don't want to say make up for what he's been doing to us, but what's going to be the reward for what we've been going through? The scripture says nobody has went through what Israel went through, right? Second Esdras 7 said nobody can get to that inheritance unless you go through this. Well, if nobody never went through what we went through, nobody gonna receive or ever had what we about to get. Come on, man.
That's the just like Job received the reward, you know, for his patience, his faith. That's, you know, that's what we thrive for too. That's why the brothers always preach that the kingdom of heaven gonna be. What the scriptures say, we can't even put our minds to how beautiful it's gonna be. So we going through the captivity, and all this hell, it's gonna be even more beautiful on the other side.
And with that, Lord willing, you know, this lesson was edifying. We want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash, and your double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And peace and blessings to all you Akim out there who pushing this word with all truth and sincerity. And with that, Shalom.
Shalom.